from the local station. The morning show starts now.
The family of 3 people fatally shot at a Dollar General store in North Florida by a racist gunman are suing the store's landlord, operator, and security contractor for negligence, claiming lax security led to their loved ones' deaths. The shooting took place in a predominantly black neighborhood in Jacksonville last August and ended in the deaths of Angela Carr, Gerald Gallion, and A.J. Laguerre. Joining me on the morning show is Michael Haggard, a crime victim attorney and secretary of the National Center for Victims of Crime. Good morning. Thanks for being here.
Good morning.
So yesterday, you and civil rights attorney Benjamin Crump and others gathered with the families unveiling this lawsuit. And Michael, the message is simple. What's flooding this nation and fueling these mass shootings, and this shooting in particular, is something that is gripping this nation. And it's simple. It's hate.
Absolutely. You know, you have this rhetoric out there, and it's a certain demographic. It's going to young white males who are being, really in the internet, the dark web, are seeing all this hate, this theory that their lives are going to be different. And with easy access to military-style weapons, we see this again and again. It's almost a copycat scenario.
Now, you've represented people in mass shootings that have become all too commonplace in this country. Represented victims, if I'm not mistaken, at the University of Virginia, Marjorie Stoneman Douglas, Eureka Gardens here in Jacksonville, and numerous other places. Have you given up on government doing anything? And if so, who has to take responsibility? Who has to do something?
I never want to give up. I mean, this is the epidemic of our time. I mean, America by far leads the world in gun violence. It's not even close. So if our governmental leaders aren't going to do something, it's really up to not only all of citizens, but corporate America. I mean, you look at Dollar General, you look at Walmart. The most shootings happen at those 2 retail giants. They should be involved in this fight in terms of getting military-style weapons off the streets because it affects their customers, affects all of us, and it's not going to stop. We are at a record pace in 2023 for mass shootings and gun violence deaths in the United States, and something has to happen.
We know that in Florida, the number of killings in Jacksonville is out of control. In fact, Florida leads the state when it comes to the number of shooting deaths. Do you worry that people have become somewhat immune to gun violence?
It's amazing when you can sit here and we could go around the studio and rattle off Columbine, Aurora, Sandy Hook, Uvalde. I mean, the amount of mass shootings, I'm not talking about every night, which we need to talk about in our inner cities, but I'm talking about mass shootings. So it does come to a point where people, it's just rattling off the tongue too easy. But what I tell everyone is it's going to come to your doorstep. It's like cancer. Everyone has someone that has been affected by it. Deshaun Perry at the University of Virginia was killed. I coached him in football. To think that he would one day be killed because of gun violence and I would handle that case is a horrible thought. So we have to keep it at the forefront of our minds, or next it's going to be one of our loved ones.
You say it's going to come to your doorstep, and it does. We have people who sit in their homes and they're sitting there with their children, and we've reported stories right here on Channel 4 where their children are watching TV and a bullet comes flying through the window. Let me talk specifically about the incident at Dollar General. The families yesterday talked passionately about their loved ones being caught in the cycle of violence. And I know part of the lawsuit contends that Dollar General should have been responsible for providing security for customers and employees. And I heard Benjamin Crump say at that news conference, corporate America needs to do something and put safety above profits. Is that the answer? Part of the answer?
Well, it's part of the answer because the government won't do anything. And Dollar General's had over 50 homicides in just 3 years at their different stores across America. You talk to police chiefs, and they say Dollar General's a magnet for crime. This particular store had multiple assaults, armed assaults, and they needed security there. We know in this particular case, which I've never seen before, that this gunman went to 2 separate places, Family Dollar, and then he went to Edward Waters. He was donning his tactical vest, getting out of the car with his military-style assault weapon, with his Glock as well, and he was deterred first at the Family Dollar by a security guard, and then, thank God, by Lieutenant Antonio Bailey at Edward Waters. We know if Dollar General has a security guard, this never happens. And folks like Dollar General need to step up until our government does, frankly.
After the shooting in Lewiston, Maine, I was watching one of the national talk shows, and it was being hosted by Michael Smerconish. And he said, look, I'm going to be fairly blunt here. I have this template that I use when I'm doing a show about mass shootings. And he showed this template with these questions that he poses and these things that he asks. And that's sad. the response you got yesterday, do you have hope that finally we'll get to the bottom of things and people will open their eyes and ears?
You know, it is terribly sad to think that I'm a lawyer that handles primarily gun violence cases. I mean, I would have never told you that. I hate that. I want to put myself out of business. I don't want to handle any of these cases anymore. We have to be hopeful. We have to elect candidates who put this at the forefront. Over 45,000 people a year die from gun violence. 45,000 people a year in the United States. We have to keep it at the forefront. Local leaders need to be involved. They got to assist it. What I call the gun tax, if you think about it from that standpoint only, not the emotions, not the absolute blood and everything else, think about the toll on America, our hospitals, everything else it has, and families. We have to stop it.
Michael Haggard, thank you for being here. Appreciate your time. Mel.
All right, Bruce, thank you so much. Definitely something to think about.